In this lecture of hermeneutic traditions, we are going to understand about views of Habermas and about the hermeneutic circle. Coming to Habermas, Habermas gave his contribution to the hermeneutic tradition, and it was based on Marxist and Freudian theory. He argued that humans pursued knowledge because they had to fulfill their own interests. And according to him, there are three kinds of interest which had to be fulfilled. First, the empirical, second, cultural, and third, the critical interest. In the first interest, the empirical, he tries to analyze things, analyze what he is going to understand, and tries to gain technical control over it. And in the case of cultural interest, it is a kind of science which he does to gain practical knowledge about the things. And third, the critical sciences. This is done for the purpose of fulfilling the interest of emancipation. That is to gain awareness about the rights. Okay. For example, if I read something in a book and I want to critically analyze it, because is it against the women? Is it against the animals? Is it against the poor? Is it favoring the elite classes? So this is my critical thinking. And in order to fulfill these interests, we pursue knowledge. We read more about it in order to understand that what we are thinking is right or wrong. Next, Habermas used depth hermeneutics. Now please understand this. He said that the meaning of something that we have to understand. For example, if you see something when you are traveling, or if you read something in a book and you have to understand the meaning of the context that is written, it seems unfamiliar at first. But with time, it can become familiar. How come? If and only if we have some historical and social context that we can understand with the meaning. That means if the action, if the text, if the context is unfamiliar at first and we gain knowledge with historical and social context, then we can perhaps enhance our understanding and gain knowledge and meaning about it. For example, you must have seen in movies or maybe in real life also, there are some people who have some compulsive disorders. It could be shaking the legs, it could be biting of nails. It it represents something, right? Whenever someone is nervous and they start shaking their legs, it is representing that nervousness. So, if we want to understand the meaning of this action, which is happening again and again, we need to understand what happened, what action happened, what situation happened because of which this person is doing such thing. Okay, so we need to find the trigger. In this case, the trigger is fear. If I am a very shy person and I'm asked to speak on the stage, what will be triggered in me? I will be nervous. I will be scared. And this is because of fear. So, in order to understand my behavior, the root cause, the trigger point has to be understood. So, this is what he said. This is depth hermeneutics because we are going into very deep understanding. We cannot understand this because we are not familiar with it. I must be thinking, what a crazy person he is. Why is he acting like this? But if I understand, if I gain perspective and knowledge, only then I can understand, okay, this is the trigger and this is the reason why he is behaving in this way. Now, he has used two important terms. First is systematically distorted communication. So, we know that we have been gifted this this is a gift of communication that we have, that I'm able to speak to you and we are able to speak to each other. And this is something very basic. All the humans have this gift of communication. But what happens? when there is a lack of understanding, and even when there is a communication, even when we try to communicate, but then there is no understanding, so it is distorted. And the action that is happening, it is not contextualized, because I am not understanding. Perhaps you are not understanding this lecture. So is this a successful communication? No, this is distorted because the system is broken. We as humans can speak, but the ability to understand, it takes some efforts. Probably your parents don't understand you. You have been spending 20 years, 25 years with them, and even then they don't understand you. Maybe you don't understand them. So this is a very good example of a distorted communication. The second term he used is explanatory understanding. He said that the what of a context, it cannot be understood if the why, which is the origin, which is the starting point, is not explained at the same time. You can understand this with the same example, that someone is shaking their legs and we are not able to understand because we do not know why he is doing it. And once why is explained, the what can be understood very easily. Moving ahead, classification of hermeneutics, classification of this understanding, which was done by Paul Ricoeur. So he has classified it into two parts, the hermeneutics of faith and the hermeneutics of suspicion. As the name suggests, hermeneutics of faith is the traditional way of reading and understanding a text. For example, reading the Bible. There is a way of reading the Bible, no questions asked. People adhere to the things that are written in the Bible and they strictly follow it, they do not question it. So, this is the hermeneutics of faith. Okay, so you have faith in what is written in the Holy Bible and you understand it, you follow it. On the other hand, hermeneutics of suspicion, it interprets everything. It tries to decode what is written. It finds out the hidden meanings and reads everything with a hint of skepticism. That means they do not trust anything that they read. Okay, so if I'm not trusting everything that I'm reading, that means there is a hint of suspicion, and this is what is the hermeneutics of suspicion. Now moving to hermeneutic circle. What is the hermeneutic circle? First things first, it was given by Heidegger, and according to him, meaning is whole. Okay? When we understand something, what the meaning we have derived, it is whole in itself, and this is the central idea of the hermeneutic circle. That means it is not defined by the sum of parts, but it is defined holistically, right? For example, a picnic basket containing assorted food items. So, are you going to count each of them and tell that, okay, my picnic basket has this and this? No, it is a whole picnic basket and you're going to call it a picnic basket only. And second, the pleasure from meditation. The pleasure from meditation, it cannot be broken down, right? Because it is an experience, and experience is always counted as a whole. So, this is the central idea of the hermeneutic circle, that meaning is whole. Moving ahead, he said that parts do not have meaning unless they are a part of a whole. For example, the word am alone does not mean anything, right? Because there are no full stops also in between. So this is not an abbreviation. And if I use the words I before am and something else, I am a girl perhaps, so it makes sense. That means parts do not have meaning unless they are part of a whole. He said that context is unlimited with various meanings associated with it. The kind of understanding we have, the kind of experiences we have, on the basis of that, we can ascertain different contexts. Okay, so while we are reading a novel, if 10 people are reading a novel, they all will take out different meanings. They have their own interpretations, they have their own imaginations. Therefore, he said that the context is unlimited. So, it is a process which goes on and on. It is a process of interpretation. There is continuous movement between the smaller and larger units of meaning. For example, if you're reading one line of a novel, then you finish one paragraph, then you finish one page, then you finish 10 pages. So you constantly go back to the smaller parts and come to the larger part to keep on with the understanding, to keep on with the interpretation. As a result, we understand meanings of both parts and also the whole. If you are just reading two paragraphs, you cannot understand the whole book, but gradually, when you sum up all the parts, you start getting an idea. Okay, the novel is going somewhere. The writer is trying to say this, he's trying to express this. So, this is how we try to understand. And why is this a circle? It is a circle because of the same reason that we keep moving back and forth in order to interpret the meanings. And with this movement going back and forth, it improves our understanding of the meanings that are there. So I hope you understood this. Let us discuss some questions now. Statement number one: the hermeneutics of faith is animated by a willingness to listen and by a respect for the object as a revelation of the sacred. This is very correct. For example, the Bible. Statement 2: the hermeneutics of suspicion is animated by a skepticism towards the given and a rejection of respect for the object. This is also right. The key word here is skepticism. So the answer will be option number 3. Both are true. Question number 2. Who classified hermeneutics into hermeneutics of faith and suspicion? So this was done by Paul Ricoeur. Answer is option number 3. Thank you for watching.